This week's episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com with over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips. Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use offer code Gamebreaker5.
Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to The Republic, episode 137 for May 13th, 2013. Today, we're going to talk about SWTOR's raking in apparently all the monies for EA. Coincidentally, EA are in charge of all the Star Wars games for the foreseeable future, and we just can't stop talking about Bolster. Of course, we've got viewer questions, all that and more, but first, from SWTOR.com, it's Mr. Larry Everett. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and for those that are looking for more lore, this is directly related to Tor. It's the dawn of the Jedi. It's everything that happens on Tython. This is how the Jedi were formed. Just came out in trade paperback.
Have you finished it? Have you finished it, sir?
I just got it.
Oh, okay.
I just got it like today.
Well, you need to report back in on us and let us know how it is.
I will.
It's completely directly related to the Tor. So I think is that on Kindle by any chance?
I got it. It's a comic book. So.
Oh, it's a comic book. Oh, can we see a little bit of it? Can we see a little bit? Can you hold it? For some reason, I thought it was like a
random page.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out. No, I thought it was a novel. I didn't know.
No, it's a comic book. It's actually a new series that they put out. It's really it's by John Oster, who's the same guy that did the Legacy series. If anybody's familiar with that, which is my favorite Star Wars comic book of all time, was the Legacy series. And this just came in trade paperback. It's a new series that they just started. I don't know, last year, early this year.
Very cool.
Yeah,
my buddy just started a comic book Wednesday night, so maybe I'll have to hit the comic book shop now.
There you go.
And joining us once again is Laura Williams. How are you, Laura?
I'm great. Hey, guys. And Larry, wouldn't it actually be called a graphic novel?
Whatever.
Yeah, that's what threw me. He said trade paperback, and I was like, oh, isn't that like paperback? Isn't that terminology for like what came out on hardcover?
I don't know. You know what? I only write for a living.
It's all right, bro. Yeah, you only write for a living, so knowing the difference between a trade paperback and a graphic novel, it's completely okay. I get it.
Absolutely fine.
How many pages is it? Is it like a really? Is it a graphic novel, or is it more like a comic book?
It's a graphic novel. It's actually four of. I think it's the first four in the series. First 4 or 5 in the series, all bunched together.
You sure it's not a Blu-ray? You sure it's not Blu-ray?
It could be a Blu-ray, but I don't think it'll fit in my player. It might fit in yours.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about some SWTOR. So SWTOR's monthly revenue has more than doubled since going free to play. Which, hey, yay! But hey, zero doubling to zero could be, good, but it's not zero. Because that's really dependent on what it's really doubling from, right? But what was weird, what really we're bringing this story up is, didn't we already know this? And this story made headlines all across the interwebs. And when we saw it, we were sort of wondering, didn't we already cover this? Why did this why did this rear its head again? What brought this back up, Larry?
It basically the reason why it came back up is because it was mentioned in the EA press, investors call. Before it was mentioned by James Olin, which creative director for Tor. Now it's EA saying it. I mean, EA, big company. They want to push their biggest things in their investors call, and so when they say Tor is now doubled, it's a big thing for investors. They want to hear that kind of thing, and that's why it hit the news again.
And we have learned one new thing, which is pretty interesting. So if memory serves me correctly, BioWare actually said back in the day back in the day, that they were the second. They had the second most subscribers in the West. Correct me if I'm wrong, Larry. Is that what?
Yes, they did. James Olin said that. Yes, at where was it? The thing in Austin, GDC Online.
And weren't we really confused as to why they weren't like yelling from the rooftops and shouting this and letting everyone know? Because that just seemed like a huge, amazing piece of PR at the time.
Well, that's not okay. TOR's PR, I mean, I like those guys over there. They're great people, but to be honest, they just don't push the right things at the right times, it seems. And I think that was one of the things that they didn't. I mean, that's a big deal, right? It's a big deal.
I thought it was a big deal. I thought it was a huge big deal. I would have put out a press release. I would have been telling everybody, hey, we're the second largest.
Well, especially with the backlash for free to play.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
You think that you would want anybody at this point to say, oh, look at us. Look at all these new people that we brought in.
Yeah, that's what we said back in the day. We were like, I don't know why more people don't know about this. I would be telling everybody this. The sci-fi game that goes free to play, and basically it's the alternative to WoW. I mean, the advertising kind of writes itself. The copy's pretty easy to write there. Well, the interesting thing is now we actually have an actual subscriber number. Which, first of all, I mean, I'm almost floored that we even know, because I really never expected. Yeah. Did anybody expect to actually get real numbers out of them once they went free to play?
I'll be honest. The only number I expected to hear was this is the number of accounts we have, which is going to be, which is really an obtuse number. It doesn't mean anything. Because the number of accounts that you have does not necessarily correlate at all to how many players are in the game. Any free to play game will tell you that. It doesn't correlate at all. And so I'm
even
really
subscribers. You always, because even companies that have subscription models, they'll say how many subscribers they have, and then a portion of the community will be like, well, they're probably people who just lapsed. They keep paying for it, but they don't play. So whatever, the internet can fight that out like they always do.
Yeah.
But the number is actually a really good number. I mean, that's crazy. So it's just under 500,000. That's the number that's how it was described. Just under 500,000 players, which is awesome. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's more phenomenal than, say, what people have been saying. They're saying, oh, it's dead and there's nobody playing the game anymore. But I mean, 500,000 people. That's pretty good. I can only think of one other subscription MMO that comes close to that.
EVE Online.
The only other one that I can think of.
And then World of Warcraft. So we don't really know if we want to really get technical and we want to kind of split hairs. I guess we don't really know if they're number 2 or number 3. It sounds like they might be somewhere in between. It sounds like they're neck and neck with CCP and with EVE Online. So who knows? But who's going to really get exact numbers? But James Olin told us that they were the second most largest, probably fluctuating randomly. Does it feel like that right now in the game? Does it feel like that, Laura? Like when you do the servers, your server in general, with 500,000 people playing, because that's a pretty robust number.
I know when I log in every night that almost all the servers are pinging as either heavy or very heavy, and occasionally on weekends you will see it as full. So yeah, I would say I feel like there's probably at least that many people at least logging in to try it, even if they're not playing on a regular basis.
What do you think, Larry? What do you think most of the people at this point? Do you think there's a lot of new players that came in from the free to play model that never played? Like, we've been doing this show forever now, so we were here on launch.
Absolutely.
What do you think? I don't know. If you just had to throw a dart at the wall, kind of like throw it out there, would you say that a lot of the new people playing at this point are actually new to the free to play portion of the game?
I'm not really sure about new to free to play, although I would speculate that that's probably true. I know that a good chunk of players that we're running into now are not players that were there at launch. They're players that came in several months later and have really hooked onto the game. It's one of those things where all the negative press kind of wore off, and now people are starting to see that, oh, this might be a good game. Let me try it out. It had time to cultivate and simmer, and now what is this game like? And they try it out and they stick around. That seems to be what's happening now. There's a lot more a lot more newer players, I think, than there was initially.
Laura, I know you subscribe to the game, but I'm curious to wonder what your take on it, Nick. After it went free to play, I'm sure a lot of new players came in and went free to play, and we kind of talked a lot about the subscription model and how it seemed like they were doing a lot of they're doing a lot of things to kind of, they really want you to be a subscriber to the game. Do you think a lot of people, I'm watching the chat room as I'm talking, and I'm seeing people going like, I came back as a free to play player, I came in as a free to play player, and now I've started subscribing. So do you think they're doing a really good job of kind of pushing you into having a really good experience and then deciding to spend the $15 a month?
I think that a lot of the quality of life improvements that they made from their original free-to-play model is what has made people want to come in and continue to play the game. It was a little sparse at first, especially with people complaining that, you didn't have things like extra action bars and, can't hide your head slot and stuff. But they've made some things that I think make it more appealing to come in. And of course, as Larry, if you read his experiment in his free-to-play, he can tell you you're getting hit up every 5 minutes with something that says, join now and be a subscriber and you can get this perk or you can get that perk. But I think overall it's not terrible. I mean, they do give you a lot just as a free-to-play that you don't have to pay anything for. And, if you don't want to subscribe, it's very possible to play the game and not subscribe.
Lara, how is your experience going? So you're basically doing something so people to catch people up, to bring people up to speed if they haven't heard us talking about it before. On the Hyperspace Beacon, which is the column you do massively as an experiment, you're basically going back in. You're a subscriber, but you wanted to see what the experience would be like from a free-to-play player and kind of are you doing like a comparison, or is it just sort of like, hey, this is my experience? Well, I mean, I kind of want to take the road of a newer player, although I have played this class before, although I've never finished the class story. I'm playing a smuggler. I have not finished on live. I've never finished the class story. And so I'm kind of taking it, letting a little new eyes on this. How does it feel as a free-to-play player to jump into this game? What restrictions am I running into? What good things am I running into? And I'm also trying to show that, because there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, well, you can get this, but it's on the cartel market, and it's going to cost all sorts of money to do this and that. And I'm also trying to show that you can do some of these things that would normally cost money. You can do it for free. You don't have to pay as long as you're willing to invest the time, which is kind of what I'm doing with this whole free-to-play experiment. So I'm taking from level 1 to level 50. I can't do 55 because that would cost money. But from level 1 to level 50, I'm going to take a character up and then even do end game stuff once I hit level 50. So then tell me, I wanted to wait a few weeks. Because now, how many weeks are you in now? What are you in, like week 3?
This is week 3. Yeah.
This is week 3. And I wanted to wait a few weeks before we even started talking about it, before I started asking you questions about it, because I wanted to like see how you'd like ease into it. But what do you think? Like, so looking back now on like, say like week 1, like what's your initial reaction from trying? It's really hard to clear your head and kind of be like a free slate, right? Like, hey, I'm a new player. But what do you think it's like for a free player on that first new week?
You see, the thing, what's really cool about the first week, because the first week you're really just, especially if you haven't played the game before, you're on the starting world and you're on like Coruscant or Drummond Koss, and that is really, to be honest, that is like the highlight of the game. That's where you're going to be the most enticed into playing this game. And I honestly believe that like once people get their ship, that's about the time they're starting to subscribe, because it's really great game. I don't notice, honestly, from the time that because I haven't played Smuggler since like the first at launch. That's the last time I've really played Smuggler, and to see this game, it really, honestly, as a free-to-play player, it feels like I just started the game. There's restrictions now that I know because I've played the game for a year and a half that I don't have as a subscriber. But what I'm getting now at like level 1 to 10, level 1 to like 15, 16, it's pretty much the same game as what I saw at launch.
I guess what I'm trying to get at here is like, at about what, if and when, at about what level was there like a definitive point where you were trying to like, be this, neutral player? Was there like sort of a somewhat a definitive point where you were just like, I would subscribe at this point? Like here's the turning point. They've got me and it's worth it.
I think it was your inventory management.
Yeah, I'm starting.
You're holding out, but
yeah, that's right. Where was it? My biggest frustration right now is inventory management. It is horrid as a free-to-play player, because although I can grab unlocks from the GTN and stuff and things along that line to unlock different like inventory slots and bank slots and that sort of thing, but I don't have enough income right now on my character to be able to afford those unlocks off the GTN. So yeah, that's my biggest frustration right now, is because I'm having to send my companion back all the time. I'm having to stop and sell things constantly.
Okay. So there's frustration. So that I want to try to talk about the experience, because so now there's frustration that has set in a little bit, and you're at not at a crossroads, because you're going on an experiment that you're just like, I'm not subscribing. Like I already have. So you're not. I don't know. Would you have subscribed at that point, or out of frustration, are you angry about it and you don't want to subscribe because they've kind of painted you in a corner a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would, just because I enjoy the story enough. I actually enjoy the leveling process enough that I might, $15. Let me throw that at them for a month and let me subscribe. Let me see what that's about. And then at that point, I don't know if I'd go beyond that. Yeah, that's about the time when I started running into the frustration of inventory management, because I kind of accept it as an issue in general with free-to-play games, is that you're going to have inventory management issues. But this was just, I would have subscribed right at that point, I would say.
Are you guys seeing it all in your guild? Are you seeing an influx of free-to-play players, like looking to find guilds and stuff like that? Are you guys accepting any new players that are playing on free-to-play accounts, anything like that? How is that all faring? Because I know prior to them going free-to-play, we had a lot of concerns talking about, like, would guilds who were established and who were subscribers want to let free-to-play players in, and with the restrictions, and what it could inflict, and would it make like a lot of hoopla within the guild internally to try and like schedule things and things like that? How is that all fared out, Laura?
We have a couple of European players who have gone free to play. And I mean, obviously we are a pretty social guild. We definitely invite players rather than characters. So I wouldn't say that we've had any problem with it, but I also haven't noticed an influx of people applying to the guild that are free to play. Or at least we haven't asked them specifically, are you free to play?
Well, I mean, looking now back at it, it's starting to look like, I don't know, Larry, you're in the experiment. Would you say that the free-to-play model is successful? I mean, 500,000 subscribers, definitely a good amount of people playing the game at this point.
As I said it in the Hyperspace Beacon, I think that their free-to-play model is definitely interesting to look at, and it's definitely. Is it successful? I think so. I mean, the thing that I think is really, really awesome about SWTOR's free-to-play versus most games free-to-play where they have a cash shop is that the things that are sold in the cash shop are not bound to you. You can go and then sell them to other characters. And so what this does is it kind of creates like a trickle-down kind of thing happening, where you have every free-to-play model depends on whales, people that are called whales, that just buy a whole bunch of stuff. When every pack comes out, whenever new thing comes out, they just buy it. And what happens is you get these people that are the whales that are buying all this stuff, and then they have all this extra stuff as well. So what are they going to do with the extra stuff? They're going to throw it on the GTN now and try to get it to other players. And so their money is kind of trickling down. SWTOR's still making money because all the stuff is being sold, but you, as somebody that maybe has more time than has money, can then feed off of the whales by buying stuff off the GTN. It's a really interesting process, I think.
Well, on top of that, so apparently on top of nearly 500,000 subs, that's, just around 500,000 subs, EA claimed that they've added 1.7 million players on the free-to-play side of things as well. So not really much insight on, how many of those people are spending money, But still, that's a lot of people. Adding 1.7 million people trying out the game as free to play, 500,000 subs. I think we're going to see Star Wars: The Old Republic stick around for a little bit longer.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Pretty safe assumption.
Yeah, I think it's going to stick around. All right, so I want to talk about some Disney EA stuff, but really quick, I want to tell you guys about an amazing deal we got going on with Shutterstock. If you guys have not checked out Shutterstock, I'm sure you have a website. Everybody's got a website. You probably have a website. If you do, you want to go to Shutterstock. Why? Because that's how you make it look like a professional designed it. You can't afford a professional designer. Who can, right? So what do? You go over to Shutterstock.com. What do? You sign up. You use Gamebreaker 5 as in the promo code. You're going to get 30% off. And you can search for all kinds of crazy. Let's see sci-fi today. Have a look at this. Let's see sci-fi. I want to look at vectors because artwork is cool. Let's see what kind of sci-fi stuff we have. All kinds of cool backgrounds. Like this stuff is just. You need robots. Robots are bad. Look like here. Perfect example, right? You want robots to spruce up your website? Like, where are you going to get that? You're not going to get that anywhere else. Like, you're not going to hire an artist to draw these for you. They're going to charge you like 10 grand. An artist would charge like so much money to draw these things. If you just go over to shutterstock.com and on checkout, you use promo code Gamebreaker5, you get 30% off, brand new account. Use it for everything. We're building 2 new websites. I'm going to show you guys really soon, maybe within the next week or two, some of the new stuff we're doing. Our brand new website, which is going to be a free-to-play website, made the entire logo with stuff on Shutterstock. Backgrounds on the new Gamebreaker Nation website, Shutterstock. Icons, Shutterstock. UI, Shutterstock. That's how we do. So go check it out. Go over to shutterstock.com. Maybe you need like stock footage, video. They got it. Drawings, vectors, artwork, whatever you need. Seriously, look at this. You got a guild website? Spruce up the guild website. Boom, done. Shutterstock. Check it out. Go over to Shutterstock today. Just on your checkout. There's a coupon code there, promo code thing. Just throw in Gamebreaker5. You got 30% off. All right, let's talk about, this isn't actually directly related to Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I kind of wanted to bring it up this week. It's a pretty big news. Disney and EA have signed a deal, and it's giving EA, Electronic Arts, exclusive developing and publishing rights to Star Wars games going forward, except for mobile, social, and tablet gaming. So, what's your first reaction? What's your knee-jerk reaction, Laura? What was your first when you heard this news? What was the first reaction that you heard EA was taking over the entire kabit and caboodle, except for the social and mobile?
Honestly, I thought they were kind of limiting themselves a little bit. There's a lot of game publishers out there that could probably make really awesome games, and to only say that that they're going to give it to EA, kind of made me tilt my head a little bit.
Do you kind of have that, EA's gotten a lot of crap in the last year. They were voted, second year in a row, worst company in America, which, is kind of whatever. They're not really the worst company in America. There's a lot of
I guess you can't please everybody.
What do you think? But there's a lot of good games that actually come out under EA. Not in the MMO arena, which we mostly cover, but I don't know. BioWare's made some great games, DICE, Battlefield, come on. They do make some great games.
Yeah.
What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was a little bit of a facepalm. EA is big. Let me say the studios underneath EA are not good studios, because there's many good studios, BioWare being one of them, DICE being another. There's really good studios underneath EA, but it doesn't seem like the creative choice to me. It seems like this was completely a financial decision, and it wasn't about making good games with the Star Wars label on it. It was which company is going to make us the most money. And like Laura said, I don't necessarily know that it would even make the most money going under EA, but EA, what are they, second largest or the largest gaming publisher? One of the two. at this point, and so it just seemed like that kind of decision to me.
I don't know. I think the EA has definitely had its issues this year and last year.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Sim City, all that debacle, that craziness. Right? There's no doubt about that. They should get knocked down where they deserve. And Visceral, right? I mean, we're hearing some people are hoping for Visceral maybe to hopefully pick up 1313, which would be awesome. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of good, I think, options under the EA banner. You know, I think BioWare doing a single player game, Visceral, DICE, like all of these companies are just awesome. I mean, Battlefield is a phenomenal franchise. So
yeah,
it's definitely easy to kind of like point EA and put them in the crosshairs, but I just
hope that there's still the creative freedom that some of those developers had when they were independent of EA. I hope that creative freedom is still there, and that they're able to produce the stuff that they used to. I mean, I know from my experience. I mean, if you look at the Mass Effect series, it's like this. It was like this. Okay, we're not under EA. Oh, wait, we're partially under EA. We're fully under EA, and it just like really went downhill. And I don't know, and I can't necessarily blame that on EA because we don't know. Maybe it was BioWare just suddenly got too big for its britches and couldn't make a solid game after a while. It just seems that there is a little bit of a trend that once companies go under the EA banner, that they kind of slack off a little bit as far as production.
Or maybe they just get
goes.
pushed out too fast.
Yeah. Whatever
at the point of just cranking it out there to get the name.
I mean, the other thing that I'm kind of stoked about the fact that they didn't actually give EA the mobile and social stuff. Like Disney is actually holding on to that. Disney is keeping that under the so EA gets to basically dish out and focus on the big AAA titles, and that seems to be most of the companies that they have, like the developers under their banner, kind of fit into that space. So I don't know. What do you think about Star Wars: The Old Republic's future? You know, you've got the movies coming out. You got EA going to be doing the games. I mean,
we're going to be seeing a big preview for Star Wars: The Old Republic. Every movie is going to be right there. Live the adventure.
Well, that's right. I know that's the dream. I know that's the dream for Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like players, and they want to wave the flag. They want everyone to know. But I really wonder how much in the next year to 1 to 3 years EA is planning on putting into Star Wars: The Old Republic as far as the franchise, or if I don't know, Larry, you've been around the block for a while, writing for Massively and stuff. I mean, do you think that they're really gonna come back and kind of push it as a major title?
Maybe the next expansion, like if they do a really big expansion or something along that line. I don't necessarily think that it's going to. It's definitely not going to get the press that or the push that it did at launch. I don't think we'll ever see that again. However, I do kind of see, especially with the game now being financially viable, I see them throwing more money at it. I really do. I really think we'll see some major improvements as far as the internal structure goes. You'll see things produced maybe faster, maybe better than they were previously. Within
I agree.
I'm talking the last few months. Yeah,
I agree. I think we've what is episode 137. So we started this show almost a year before launch. We've watched all the lead up. We watched the launch. And then we also watched kind of like a hard time for the game, right? We watched a transition, which internally must be just absolute chaos, right? I don't think they anticipated or wanted to switch to a free to play model as soon as they did. I think they always probably knew that they would, but probably, we saw probably the worst of it. And I think I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, I feel like we're sort of coming out of it at this point. There's been a lot of positive news, and things are kind of turning for the better. We talked about the expansion and some of the McCabe stuff, and again, that was in that weird transitional period where things are kind of rocky and nutty. But I feel like we're almost past that, and now everything going forward is kind of the future, and they can develop as they please. I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting year.
I think that as long as it's making money, they're going to keep putting out stuff for it. I mean, even if it's just small little patches the way that we've seen, and small little expansions the way that we saw with McCab. And I mean, EA is not NCSoft, so they're not going to just say, oh, sorry, cash cow, we're going to shut it down. Like they did with City of Heroes.
I sense some bitterness from that.
Obviously,
Just
City of
saying.
Heroes fans. Hey, nobody ever wants to see their game shut down. Never fun. All right, next up, Rob Hinkle explains why BioWare changed the bolster system away from the starter PvP gear. We can't stop talking about the bolster system just week after week after week. He says, unfortunately, giving away physical gear ran into a number of problems. We couldn't actually make it as powerful as we wanted without invalidating the gear being dropped in flashpoints. Some players simply sold the gear for an immediate cash gain, and a large number of people either didn't ever acquire the recruit gear or simply didn't wear it while inside PvP.
That statement is so ridiculous.
Let's go through this. Good. I want to go through this statement. Let's go through these one by one.
Hard enough.
So they didn't want to invalidate Flashpoint gear. Isn't there an exclusive PvP stat that's pretty important to the game?
Yes, there is. That is not on Flashpoint gear at all.
Larry, you can't even speak. You're speechless. Are you gonna laugh? Are you gonna cry? I can't even tell.
I don't know what he's saying there. I really have no clue what he's talking about. I mean,
should I read it again? Maybe we just didn't understand it. Let's read it again. Maybe none of us got it. Let's read it again. He says, unfortunately, giving away physical gear ran into a number of problems. We couldn't actually make it as powerful as we wanted without invalidating the gear being dropped in flashpoints. Some players simply sold the gear for an immediate cash gain, and a large number of people either didn't ever acquire the recruit gear or simply didn't wear it inside of PvP.
They couldn't make it powerful enough without invalidating the gear that dropped in flashpoints. So upping the expertise number to a viable number, which is a stat that is not used in PvE at all, invalidates the flashpoint gear.
That wasn't meant to be worn in PvP.
So instead, what they did is they just made flashpoint gear viable in PvP. So, what? I don't get it. It just doesn't make. I don't get it. I really don't get that statement. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, the cash gain doesn't make any sense to me either, because recruit gear always sold for a credit. It never had any actual value to it. And when they put the starting quest in on the PvP vendor to give to Fresh 50s to say, hey, here's your free set of starting PvP gear so that you can go in to war zones and not get your face bitten off 5 seconds after stepping out of the door. So you had a crate that was either tailored to your class, whatever your spec was, or you had the option of taking 320,000 credits, which was exactly how much it cost to buy the PvP gear.
No, actually, they got rid of that.
And then they took that out and
they
said,
totally took the credit thing out.
You're just gonna have a crate full of PvP gear. Please wear this, because we're tired of listening to people complain that you're not wearing PvP gear.
I mean, as far as like people selling the gear for cash, couldn't they just like make the gear unsellable or sell for one?
But they weren't selling it for cash. At least not the recruit stuff. The recruit stuff only sold for a credit. That was it.
Sold for one credit.
Yeah, 1 credit. So you would get a total of maybe like 25 credits, because the relics were actual campaign relics, and I think they had a little bit higher value than 1 credit.
All right, so let's go to the let's go to the third point. People just didn't use the gear and they got stomped, but couldn't they have sort of like educated people? Like, I don't know, mail, tutorial, pop-ups,
they're already
warning,
getting you
loading
free gear. They're saying, here, silver platter, take this, wear it, please. I don't know how much clearer it could have been.
The bolsters. This could be just.
Like, I've never played another game that just handed you everything on a platter and said, "Here you go."
If they wanted people to wear PvP gear in a PvP zone, and they have a stat that says you can only, this is a stat that's only used in PvP, well, then the easiest, simplest solution is, unless they have something on that stat, they can't get into a PvP zone. Done. I mean, why all this confusion and this, this horrible thing that they did with the bolster system now? Why all of that? For this reason. This reason doesn't make any sense.
Is this statement kind of just completely bogus? Because I'm watching the chat room, and chat room is not buying it either. They're all face palming and just they don't understand it either. I mean, I can understand why BioWare wanted to move away from gear. If players could just jump into PvP without a care in the world and just get bolstered up, great. It's simple. It's easier. Like, I can understand that maybe what they wanted, and we could all get on board with it. But it seems like this whole system has really backfired on them.
Yeah, it just honestly, that just sounds like a made-up excuse. Let me think. Okay, let me come up with a reason here. This kind of makes sense. Let me type that down. It's really, I think, what they need to do, and which they kind of already did to an extent, is say, okay, this is what we wanted. We wanted people to be able to, when they're PvPing, we want them to feel viable within a PvP system, and we figured out the way to do that is not through the gear itself, but rather through the player's skill. And so what we've done is we created a system where the gear disparity is minor when you're in 55 PvP, which they did with the gear that you get. The disparity is very minor. However, what they goofed up on is the whole bolstering mechanic with new guys coming in, and why can't they admit that, what?
What do they do? But here's the thing: what do they do? They've kind of backed themselves into a corner. I mean, they can't really go back to a gear-based system at this point, can they?
Well, what they do bring out. They kind of can. Working. Yeah, what they can do, honestly, easily, is get rid of that bolstering system that bolsters anything without expertise, and give people recruit gear again. Start from scratch, really, when it comes down to it. Give people recruit gear again. Fix it in the next patch. Fix it in the next big patch. 2.5, if you will.
It really feels like the PvP portion of SWTOR is like just cancer. And if you could just cut it off. It
feels like the redheaded stepchild that nobody wants.
It just cut it off. Like, I mean, I know there's no way they will do this, but it's like, just get rid of it. Go straight PvE and just do it, because it's like every time they make a change, it's like it's for the worse. I know they're trying to get it right, but it just doesn't seem like the community. Not the right.
I got to be honest. I think that this system could have worked. The system that they have in there now theoretically could have worked. The problem is they didn't test it.
Okay, so if it theoretically could have worked, what would the testing have shown that they should have done differently?
Well, if there would have been multiple matches going on constantly, they would have seen all the little nuances that people are digging into now, and the exploits that people are running into. They would have seen all of that stuff, and in fact they did see some of it. It was reported. It just wasn't changed before live, or didn't come fast enough before live. It just really, to me, I think this is not necessarily a failed concept, but more of a failed testing. So it's failed in execution. So they didn't see some of the nuances that could have happened, and the things that could have gone wrong. However, the easy fix to it: get rid of the bolstering system as it exists, and just have it work on recruit gear and the expertise rating. Get rid of, go back to the old bolstering system. Pretty much is what it boils down to.
Armchair developer.
I mean, if people are going to be dumb enough to go into
know.
Warzones and not wear PvP gear, then they deserve to get ruffle stomped. I mean, that's ridiculous. And anybody that's going to sit there and cry about it, well, you know what? Hello Kitty Island Adventure is that way. I mean, like, I'm not a huge PvPer. I'm not great at it, but I do enjoy going in, and, you know, I enjoy going in, and I enjoy fighting, and I know that when I started playing, yeah, I had to go with recruit gear, and I knew that it was going to be painful, and I was going to die a lot. And even now, going in, you know, because I'm leveling another character that I didn't PvP on previously, so all of my work is pretty much thrown out the door. So I'm back in that same boat. And, you know, I'm not sitting here crying because I have less expertise than the people who have done nothing but level in PvP and who have the gear, and I knew who had the skill. Yeah, that's just how it is. It sucks, but I'm going to push my way through it, and I'm going to get the gear, and then I will be able to go and compete as well. I mean, this crying absolutely makes me want to punch a fist through the wall.
We should start a Hello Kitty show. I'm thinking it to my brain. Can we start a Hello Kitty show? All right, let's move on.
The PvP in there is, I hear it's better, actually, than Tor.
It might be.
Well, then maybe I should go play that instead.
All right. Seriously, if there's one thing about the SWTOR subscriber base, it's that they definitely don't want to be screwed over. I don't know. At least they're not complaining about cat people this week. So there are some concerns, though, apparently, that since 2.1, which comes out tomorrow as we're taping this, is just very, 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 very cartel market heavy. And that's what players are concerned about. So BioWare's 8-week cadence of content is going to involve the cartel market, apparently, which... How do you guys feel about this? This is a valid concern. So basically 2.1 is is super cartel market heavy. That's part of their cadence of content, and some players are kind of freaking out about this. Is it a valid concern?
I'm going to say no, because it's only been 4 weeks since McKeb launched. So they basically have another 4 weeks to actually push out real content.
Yeah.
What do you think, Larry?
Even if this was the only thing to come out, I mean, I think the big thing that I gotta say this as a role player, that this is hopefully one of many of our updates. This one's for role players. There's some that are for PvEers, you know, that have in-game content. There's some that are for PvPers that have a new Warzone. This one is the role players update. This is it's a, you know, and the thing is, although yes, it is cartel market heavy, there is a lot of cartel market stuff. Not everything is cartel market related. In fact,
True.
The whole image designing thing does not have to cost you cartel points. You can get that. Yeah.
Agreed. And I guess we gotta kind of want to point out this. You know, here's this was too long to read sort of version. Eric Musco posted this. People don't want to read on the internet. They really don't. You know how many times we'll post. You know how many times we post something on Gamebreaker and we post a story and people read the headline and then comment immediately. And it's like, you clearly did not read anything that our writer wrote. And
you spent time putting this together and making it look pretty and making sure that the grammar was correct. And yeah.
Nah, read a headline, make a comment. Boom, done. I have no idea what you're really talking about. Just read it. So here's Musco, and he said, if you're concerned that the game update 2.1 is taking up space in our content cadence and only contains cartel market stuff, fear not. Game update 2.2 is sooner than you would expect. And by sooner, the current plan is June 11th. So seriously, like
that's
like
that is less than 8 weeks.
Exactly. So it's
Rise Out Cartel came out on the 15th
14th.
and 14th. Yeah, 14th and the 11th. So that's, I mean, it's less than 2 months. It might be right at 8 weeks for two updates.
So
Not one.
I honestly don't see any problem why they call it an update. And if there's a lot of cartel market stuff in there, and part of their like delivery schedule is maybe the teams are separated like that, when it's like, okay, we're gonna do a patch. It's 2.1 and it's very cartel market heavy, and then 2.2 is gonna be more of a development side, like with actual with like real content, and that's how they're sort of delivering it. But people are flipping out about this.
Oh yeah. I think that most people are flipping out, honestly, because they don't realize that not all of this stuff is cartel market stuff. I think that's one of the major sticking points. That's actually a big sticking point with me, is that, okay, yes, it's on the cartel market, but that's not the only way you can get it. They put it on the cartel market kind of as a convenience, because it's one of those things that do you have more time or do you have more money? If you have more time, don't buy off the cartel market. Spend time earning credits in game. If you have more money, spend and not enough time, buy it on the cartel market, and then you can get stuff that way. That's really what it boils down to for most of the items on the cartel market.
Let's get the crystal balls going. Any speculation on what's going to come in 2.2? I'm over 2.1. Forget it. Let's just move on. What's coming in 2.2? It's like a non-argument. Any idea? What do you think, Laura? Any speculation on 2.2?
I think you're going to see probably Nightmare Mode for Scum and Villainy and Terror from Beyond. I'm hoping that we're going to see at least a new Flashpoint, something that's not already in-game and rehashed to level 55. I would like something completely new, like Lost Island or Kaon.
How about you, Laura?
Flashpoints. Maybe I'm going to predict a new quest hub, too.
The new quest hub.
Mm.
Yeah, well, something like Section S-esque. Use my words. Or
Section S-esque.
Yeah, XXX.
Whoa. That's a totally different section that we don't talk about.
Section XXX. Nobody talks about it.
I'll go back to those
the
red
role-playing
tassels.
community never. The first rule of role-playing community is never talk about XXX.
That's right.
Larry knows.
What was he? I'm not sure that we're going to get Scum and Villainy Nightmare Mode, but we'll definitely get TFB Nightmare Mode for 2.2. And I have to agree with Laura. I think that we're probably going to see another Flashpoint, a new one. One that isn't a hard mode version of an old one.
I think it would be nice if it was something that could kind of continue to tie in with the end of the I don't want to say end of the story, but kind of where they left off with the end of the story at McCab, to sort of move that along.
What's going on with the Gree Enclave? Because I know Musco, he did confirm that they're actually going to be returning soon. Is that going to? Do you think it's going to be? Is that going to be Ilum stuff? Yeah,
that's the Ilum stuff. Are they going to do anything new with Ilum? God, I hope not. Because
that's what I want to know. What's going on there?
It's going to be a return to waiting in line.
Yeah, it's going to be a return to waiting in line in a PvP zone.
Yay! Words in there.
Yeah.
Right. How about we just nix PvP talk for this show completely? We won't talk about PvP at all anymore on the Republic until it just comes back.
Oh God.
All right, I want to do some viewer questions. Really quick, I want to tell you guys about a great deal. Yeah, you've heard me talk about it. If you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. Netflix. I got a free 30-day trial. All you gotta do is netflix.com/GamebreakerTV. Go to that URL, netflix.com/GamebreakerTV. You just sign up today for a free 30-day trial. You download the app, desktop, Roku, iPad, Apple TV, whatever you got. You download the app and you can start watching everything today. All these movies and television shows and Arrested Development. The trailer, which I have not watched, but I just reminded myself of it. I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done. The Arrested Development trailer is up on Netflix, I believe. Yeah.
There's a rumor that Community might be moving over to Netflix.
Really?
Is that a rumor? Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Like the DVR was the start of it, and I'm telling you, everybody, Netflix is it is the future. It's not even the future. It's that they're they got out of the DVD business and now it's a streaming thing, and now they're like a network. It's insane.
They're the now. It's not the future. It's the now.
I know. I wanted to say it's the future. And I'm like, no, but they're on their third,
they are, and it's pretty. IP. It's pretty good stuff. I just finished watching Hemlock Grove, which is by Netflix. And okay, if you can get past Femke Jansen's funky accent, it's good. It's a good show. It's a very interesting show. I think everybody should watch it.
And I think people would probably say like Arrested Development is a little bit better than good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it is. It is.
brand new seasons of Arrested Development coming to Netflix exclusively. All you got to do is go check it out today. Catch up on all the old episodes while we're waiting for Arrested Development to hit Netflix. Just go to netflix.com/GameBreaker TV, sign up for a free 30-day trial, and start watching Arrested Development tonight. So check it out. All right. Next up, let's do some viewer questions. If you guys got viewer questions for the Republic crew, make sure to send them in to submit@gamebreaker.tv. Keep an eye on our Facebook page. We always ask for questions there as well. First up this week from Demon Athel Winningstrom. He sent in before. Can't forget a name like that. Get umlaut.
Winningstrom.
Winningstrom. Demon says, now that gear get die slots, do you think we will get a voice change slot in the future? I have noticed that they didn't use any voiceover on new helmet masks. Kind of sad in my opinion. I'm going to throw mine out there really quick. I'll take 2 seconds and say no. Go ahead, Larry.
No.
All right. Go ahead, Laura.
I would be really upset if they were spending time doing that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that,
Sorry.
like, yeah, I think we're kind of in that transitional period where there's a lot of important things to fix, like PvP. And if they were like, if they were doing awesome stuff with, like, you know,
If it really means that
voice
much to you
change
that you need to
slots?
sound like a robot, then by all means, keep a little fan by your desk. And when you are reading your dialogue, you can just speak it
There
into
you
the
go.
fan,
There you go.
and you can have that there.
I used to do my Darth Vader voice that way as a kid.
Actually, all those new voice changes. I had the Logitech headset, and it's got that, like, you know,
There
the
you
software
go.
you use, you just change your voice, you just sound like anything invented. Like, who is this? I don't think that's happening. Sorry, Demon. I mean, it's like it would be an awesome quality of life kind of thing, and I think if the game was like in tip-top shape right now, people would be like, "That's effing awesome." But yeah, I think there's other bigger things to kind of fix right now. James Wellington. Is there even a chance that they will put in more mini games like Sabak? I wouldn't mind playing that while waiting for a queue to pop just past the time. Laura, what do you think? Mini games. People have been waiting for them forever.
We have mini games in the. We have mini games in the game now.
No more mini games?
Space count as a mini game.
I guess
I'm going to say
people
that
think
we will
space-
get Sabak as soon as Larry gets chat bubbles.
Ooh, all right, Larry.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I
Any
want
chance
to
of this
see
happening?
mini games. I really do. I want to see, but and you know what? You know what I noticed on what was it on? Was it on the SLS? I noticed it as I was. I had never noticed it before. You can actually click on one of the tables. There's a table. I think it's a Sabak table in
It's
the
cool.
SLS that you can click on. And I don't know. Maybe they were planning on doing it at one time, and maybe it's still on the drawing board. I don't want to get hopes up though.
I'm sure it's on the wall crazy. All right, last up
Yeah,
from
I'm sure it is.
Marcin Filipowitz. Sorry if I butchered your last name. Marcin says, when do you think BioWare should/will announce a new expansion to not lose the interest that they've built with McCabe? Expansion. We just had one, sort of. Laura, what do you think?
I think they need to make an announcement within the next 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
At
safe.
an absolute minimum.
I'm going to kind of agree with you. 45 months. I think. You saying the same thing, Larry?
Yeah, I'm going to say probably right around E3.
Yep.
Probably about when we're... Yep. And we're going to hear
Probably a
about the
safe bet.
expansion.
We should do a whole episode just on the expansion of what we think it might be.
Oh my gosh. I would have no idea. I'm like...
I don't know. I'm blanking. Laura Williams, follow her on Twitter at Void Minx. Hey, you guys got to go follow Laura. Void Minx. VoidMynx. Go follow her on the Twitter. Always a pleasure.
Right now.
Thanks for having me.
now. I'm just watching your cat scratch his chin.
Yeah, people have been commenting on my cats. I only have 2. I have the black one and the gray one. The gray one is Fatty and the other one is Zam.
All right. Fatty's okay now. He's done. What's up, Fatty? A nice clean
Oh, yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
Clean his back. What's up, fatty? There he is. Larry, follow him on the Twitter at Shadow, SHADDOE. Of course, go over to the Hyperspace Beacon and go over to the Hyperspace Beacon. Go over to Massively and read the Hyperspace Beacon.
Yes.
My brain gets ahead of me. See
That
words
one.
come out really fast. Where are you at, sir? Are we still in the experiment week after week of week 4?
I am still in the experiment. I am taking a break this week to report on the update that's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to give my impressions of everything. I'm having to speed write it, and it is coming out tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out. I'll let everybody know the ins and outs of that.
Speed writer! I kind of knew that.
That's right.
That's why I asked. You can follow me at Gary Gannon and go to our Facebook page and make sure you like our page, facebook.com/GameBreakerTV. We do the show live every single Monday at 6 PST. For the next week or two, probably at 8 PST. If you guys want to show up for the live show, we'll be back to our normal time at 6 PST. With that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for some more Star Wars The Old Republic.
Or you can go to Hyperspace Speak and just read the title and then comment.
Yes. Which is what?
Comment about
Isn't that
how
what you
Larry
do? I feel like that's just what you do. Like, nobody reads anymore, man.